ସୁର ନର କିନ୍ନର ନୀଳ ପାରାବାର ତୁମେ ଜୀବନନ୍ଦନ ମଙ୍ଗଳମୟ ତୁମେ ଜୀବନନ୍ଦନ ମଙ୍ଗଳମୟ ବନ୍ଦନୀୟ ବନ୍ଦନୀୟ ଦେବ ବନ୍ଦନୀୟ 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 ଦେବ ବନ୍ଦନୀୟ ବନ୍ଦନୀୟ দীন জন কোটি মন চন্দনীয় দীন জন কোটি মন চন্দনীয় বন্দনীয় বন্দনীয় দেব বন্দনীয় বন্দনীয়।
Jayaguru, Nigamopodesa, page 30, preparation for death. To express in one sentence, it should be understood that the purpose of life is only a preparation for death. The householders, sannyasis, ascetics, and Epicureans all are busy in preparing death bill throughout life. One may be a donor or a miser, a luxurious person or an ascetic, no matter. The only goal of everyone is death or extension of human life. A prisoner, through his impulsive toil or service, earns emancipation or freedom. The life of a body-bound man is also spent in a similar way. The various efforts man in this world centers around one goal. It only varies in form according to one's destiny. Both saint and sinner are slaves to desire. Therefore, the preparation for a good death inevitably necessitates to dedicate one's life for a noble cause. Because if one is not thoroughly used to or habituated to right desire or right thought, it is but natural that one may forget it in the pangs of death or in the clamor of departing moment. You belch out not only what you eat. So I tell you, desire and worldly attachments are not momentary playful things. These have unending longevity. These remain as well on soul as impression and idea. This difference in impressions and ideas encompasses the difference between a saint and a sinner. None in this world is born bad. Thus, there occurs difference in the development of one's destiny according to one's good or bad desire. Hence, desire is the other phase of one's destiny. Destiny. What is destiny cannot be explained in words. Adrishta, that is not visible. It is not supportive witness of the weak and the broken. The common people know that there is a courtier named Chitragupta in the name of Yama, the god of death. Our virtues and vices, religious and irreligious virtues, have been recorded in this ledger. Chitragupta signifies that here in this world, one can deceive and make others blind by throwing dust into the eyes of the people and hide these vices. But in the other world, the pictures of all our secret actions are imprinted. Hence, there is no escape. So it is the duty of one and all to perform the religious activity as per their respective varnashrama and keep their senses under control. It means that one should not have greed for other women and wealth. One should not steal others' property. One should not speak ill of others and should not envy and do violence to others. On the other hand, with saintly ethos, one should be truthful, compassionate, forgiving, peace-loving, and should do good to others and remain respectful and devoted to God, Brahmins, guests, parents, superiors, and humbly serve them. When man always, amidst all actions, say cheating, enjoyment, sleeping, and traveling, learns to surrender to his own Ishtadev wholeheartedly, along with lust, anger, attachment, greed, and does not feel separated from Ishtadev, all attainment will automatically land on him. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Sangha Puja Bibarani for 938 weekly puja. Our Devasa Puja was held on 12/7/24 at Asana Mandira at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the presence of local Maas, Bhais and young aspirants. The session started with Shrota Bandhana, followed by reading of Mahapurusha Prasanga from Samsevaka, 6th year, part 4, page 360. Then after Bhava Vidya Pratna, the Asana Mandira closed and Jayaguru Nama Kirtana and Prananama. First session of the Sangha Puja was held on 12/8/2024 at 7:15 a.m. It's Pratiksha Sangha, songs sung by Rashmi Chaudhry and Gyan Bhai. During this time, all bhaktas joined the puja through teleconference. Aarti was performed by Sanajit Bhai, and it was followed by Nihar Bhai reciting Bandana, Bande, Guru Charna and Shrota Vandana. Thakur Bhai read verse 109 from Shri Shri Guru Gita. Biswajit Bhai led the reading of Parichaya Patra, Samilini Pratna and Bhakta Nirvana Pratna. Prabir Bhai read Vandana Pratna and Pratna Kanikarapati from Sangha Sevaka 11th year, part 1. Following this, Ushama invited Sri Sri Thakur for Balya Bhogo and for the second session of Sangha Puja to start at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Ushama also invited all Bhakta Bhais, Maas and young aspirants present at Nigama Smriti Mandir for Balya Prasad Sevana and for second Puja session. The first session concluded with Jayaguru Nama Kirtana and Pranama. Balya Bhoga was offered to Shri Shri Thakura, followed by Prasada Sevan by Bhais, Maas and young aspirants present at Nigama Smriti Mandira. Second session of the puja commenced at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time with Abhana song sung by Shriyama and Shubhendu Bhai. During this time, all the bhaktas joined the puja through teleconference. This was followed by Pranamagana and curtain. Then Miluma sang the Bandana. Ajit Bhai read religious practices from Nigama Updesha, pages 27 and 28. Following this, Aruma read the minutes of the last Sangha Puja, which was held on 12/1/24. Rama Bhai and Vishwa Bhai read and summarized pages 131 to 135 from Niraja Thakur Nigamananda. This was followed by Pratna Sangita sung by Smita Baima. Rishi Bhai read from Sansara Pathe, part 1. This was followed by the question and answer session facilitated by Jnana Bhai. The young aspirant session commenced with Pratna Sangita sung by Divyam. Swatima conducted the young aspirant session. This was followed by Bhava Vinamay by all Paliyas, Shreyashi, Ushama and Aradhanama. Shreyashi highlighted the transformative power of forgiveness for both oneself and others. Ushama shed light on the role of young aspirants within the Sangha and the unique challenges they face while growing up in this country. Aradhanama shared her heartfelt experiences of being a devotee of Sri Sri Thakura. Aradhanama then invited Sri Sri Thakura for Madhyana Bhoga and evening puja. Aradhanama also invited all Bhais, Maas and young aspirants present at Nigama Smriti Mandira for Prasada Sevan. Shreyans, Ajit Bhai and Banima invited Sri Sri Thakura and Bhais, Maas and young aspirants for the next Sangha Puja to be held on 12/15/24. In Truti Vichuti, Aradhanama on behalf of all Pariyas asked Sri Sri Thakura and Bhais, Maas and young aspirants for forgiveness for the mistakes and errors committed, whether deliberately or unintentionally during Sangha Puja. The second session was concluded with Vidya Pratna sung by Devashish Bhai. Lastly, the chanting of Guru Nama Kirtana began and asana closed after pranama. Bhoga was offered to Sri Sri Thakura, followed by Prasad Sevan by all bhaktas present in Nigamashwati Mandira. The link of the attendance sheet for this puja can be found on our website. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Continuing from page 136, Nilachara Thakur Nigamananda. ମୋର କ୍ଷୁଦ୍ର ଗଣ୍ଡିର ବାହାରେ ଅନାତ୍ମୀୟ ପରିବାର ସଙ୍ଗରେ ତାହା ହିଁ ମୋର ପ୍ରଥମ ଘନିଷ୍ଠ ପରିଚୟ। କିନ୍ତୁ ମା ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଶ୍ରୀ ଶ୍ରୀ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ସେହି ପରିବାର ସହିତ ଏଭଳି ଭାବରେ ମିଶିବାର ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ ମୋର ସହଜରେ ମନେ ହେଲା ଏମାନେ ଆମ ମାନଙ୍କର ଆପଣା ଲୋକ। ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂ ରେ ରାଜ ପରିବାର ସଙ୍ଗରେ ତ ଏଭଳି ଅବାଧ ମିଳାମିଶା ନଥିଲା। ସତରେ ତାହେଲେ ଏମାନେ ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ, ଦିଦିମଣି, ମାମାର ଦଳ। ଶିଶୁ ମନରେ ମୋର ଏହି ଧାରଣା ବଦ୍ଧମୂଳ ହୋଇଗଲା। ଯୋଗ୍ୟ ବୟପ୍ରାପ୍ତି ହେବାରୁ ପୂର୍ବ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ଧାରଣା ମୋର ଭାଙ୍ଗି ନଥିଲା। ଆଉ ଭାଙ୍ଗିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ହାଓଡାର ମିତ୍ର ପରିବାରଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଯେଉଁ ହୃଦୟତା ଥିଲା ତାହା କେବେ ହେଲେ ତୁଟି ଯାଇନାହିଁ। ତାହା ଯେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟସ୍ଥତାରେ ଗଠିତ ହୃଦୟତା, ଆତ୍ମୀୟ ସମ୍ପର୍କ ଅପେକ୍ଷା ବଡ ପରମାର୍ଥ ସମ୍ପର୍କ। ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ, ଦିଦିମଣି ଓ ତାଙ୍କର ସାନ ପୁଅ ଖୋକା ଗୁରୁଦାସ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମମାନଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଗୁରୁଧାମ ଯାତ୍ରା କଲେ। ମୋ ଠାରୁ ଖୋକା ପ୍ରାୟ 2 ବର୍ଷ ବଡ଼ ଏବଂ ତାକୁ ମାମୁ ବୋଲି ଡାକିବାର ଅବସର ପାଇବାର ପୂର୍ବରୁ 2 ଜଣ ଯାକ ଏପରି ଖେଳରେ ମାତିଗଲୁ ଯେ ଶେଷରେ ବାବା ମଧ୍ୟ ତାକୁ ମାମୁ ପଦବୀକୁ ଉଠାଇ ନେଇ ପାରିଲେ ନାହିଁ। ମା ମାନଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ, ଥାଉ, ସେମାନେ ପରସ୍ପରର ନାମ ଧରି ଡାକନ୍ତୁ, ପ୍ରାୟ ସମବୟସ ତ। ଗୁରୁଧାମ ଯିବା ପଥରେ ସେଥର ଦିଦିମଣି ଓ ଖୋକା ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଖୁବ ଭାବପ୍ରୀତି ହୋଇଗଲା। ସେଥିରେ ବିମଳା ମାଉସୀ ମା ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମମାନଙ୍କର ସଙ୍ଗିନୀ ହୋଇଥିଲେ। ନୀଳାଚଳ କୁଟୀରରେ ଏହା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ତାଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ ମୋର ଚାକ୍ଷୁଷ ପରିଚୟ ଘଟିଥିଲା। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏହି ସମୟ ଠାରୁ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ଆତ୍ମୀୟତାର ସୂତ୍ରପାତ ହେଲା। ଗୁରୁଧାମକୁ ଯାଇ ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା ନାହିଁ କାହିଁକି ତାହା କହୁଛି। ସେତେବେଳେ ମୋର ଗୁରୁଧାମରେ ମହିମା ବୁଝିବାର ବୟସ ହୋଇନଥାଏ। ବଙ୍ଗଳାର ଗ୍ରାମ ସେହି ପ୍ରଥମ ଥର ଦେଖି ମୋହିତ ହେବା ଭଳି କିଛି ପାଇନାହିଁ। ଶୁଷ୍କ ସ୍ଥାନ ପୁରୀରୁ ମଣିଷ ମୁଁ, ଉନ୍ମୀ ମୁଖରେ ବିଶାଳ ସମୁଦ୍ର, ଉଦାର ଦିଗନ୍ତ ମୋର ନିତ୍ୟ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟକ୍ଷ। ବୟସର ଶିଶୁ ହେଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଠାରେ ଆକାଶ ବତାସରେ ପ୍ରକୃତିର ଅଗାଧ ବିପୁଳତାର ଗୋଟିଏ ଇଙ୍ଗିତ ପାଇଛି। ସେହି ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରେ ମଝି ଭୈରବ ନଦୀ, ବାଉଁଶ ବଣ, ବଣବୁଦା ଓ ଆଣ୍ଠୁଭରା କାଦୁଅ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କୁତୁବପୁର ମୋ ମନକୁ ଯେପରି ଗୋଟାଏ ବିଭୀଷିକା ପରି ବୋଧ ହେଲା। ଫଳରେ ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂର ସମସ୍ତ ଦୃଶ୍ୟ ଯେପରି ମୋର ମନେ ଅଛି, ତାହା ତୁଳନାରେ କୁତୁବପୁରର କିଛି ମୋର ମନେ ନାହିଁ। ଏପରିକି ଗୁରୁଧାମର ମନ୍ଦିର ଦେଖିଛି ବୋଲି ମନେ ପଡୁନାହିଁ। ଆଉ ସେଠାରେ ମଶାଙ୍କର କି ଅତ୍ୟାଚାର! ମଶାଙ୍କ ଦଂଶନରେ ଗୁରୁଦାସ ଦେହରେ କୁଣ୍ଡିଆ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ବାହାରି ପଡିଲା। ପ୍ରାତଃ କୃତ୍ୟ ଶେଷ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିଆ ବା ବଗିଚାକୁ ଯିବା ତା ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟିଏ ଭୟାବହ ଅଭିଜ୍ଞତା। ତାହାରି ମଧ୍ୟରେ ନିଗମାନନ୍ଦ ସାରସ୍ୱତ ବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟ ପ୍ରାସାଦଟି ମୋର ମନେ ଅଛି। 2 ଧନ୍ଦା ପାଇଁ ଆଖିରେ ଦେଖିଲା ଭଳି ଜିନିଷ ସତରେ। ଆଉ ମନେ ଅଛି ରାଧାକାନ୍ତପୁରର ବାସଗୃହ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ମାତୁଳାଳୟ। କେତେ ଦିନ କୁତୁବପୁରରେ ରହିବାର ପରେ ସଦଳ ବଳେ ରାଧାକାନ୍ତପୁର ଗଲୁ। ଗୋଟେ କଥା କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଜି ଭାବିଲେ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଲାଗେ। ପ୍ରକୃତିର ରମ୍ୟ ସୌନ୍ଦର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଏବଂ ବଡ ବଡ ସହରର ଅନାୟାସ ଜୀବନ ଯାତ୍ରାର ସ୍ୱାଚ୍ଛନ୍ଦ୍ୟ ମୋ ଅପେକ୍ଷା ଠାକୁର ବହୁତ ବେଶୀ ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି। କିନ୍ତୁ ବର୍ଷା କାଳରେ ସେହି ଖାଣ୍ଟି ପଡା ଗାଁଟିରେ ମାଟି ଘରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆନନ୍ଦ କରିବାର ଦେଖିଛି। ଆର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଦର୍ପଣରେ ସ୍ୱାମୀ ଯୋଗାନନ୍ଦ ମହାରାଜ ଓ ଶ୍ରୀ ଶଶିଧର ଚକ୍ରବର୍ତ୍ତୀଙ୍କ ପ୍ରବନ୍ଧରେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଗୁରୁଧାମ ବାସର କେତେକ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା ଅଛି। ତାହା ଆମ ଅଭିଜ୍ଞତା ସହିତ ମିଳିଯାଏ। ସେଠାରେ ଯେପରି ସେଇ ଗ୍ରାମର ପିଲା, ସେଇ ଘରର ମଣିଷ, ସେଇ ଭାବରେ ହିଁ ବିଭୋର ଥାନ୍ତି। ଗ୍ରାମ୍ୟ ପରିବେଶରେ କଦର୍ଯ୍ୟତାର ତାଙ୍କର ବିନ୍ଦୁ ମାତ୍ର ବିରାଗ ଦେଖି ନାହିଁ। ଆଜି ସେଇ ଯଦି ଥାନ୍ତି, ତେବେ କୁତୁବପୁର ସମ୍ବନ୍ଧରେ ମୋର ମନ୍ତବ୍ୟ ପାଠ କରି ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ଭ୍ରୁକଟି ପ୍ରକାଶ କରନ୍ତେ। ତେଣୁ ଭୟରେ ଏତିକିରେ ହିଁ ରହିଲି। ସେ ଦୟାକରି ଥରେ ନେଇ ଯାଇଥିଲେ ବୋଲି ସିନା, ନହେଲେ ପୁଣ୍ୟଭୂମି କୁତବପୁର ଯିବାର ସୌଭାଗ୍ୟ ଜୀବନରେ ଆଉ ଘଟି ନଥାନ୍ତା। ଆଜି ସେହି କାଦୁଅ ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କ୍ଷୁଦ୍ର ଗ୍ରାମ ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟରେ ପ୍ରଣାମ ଜଣାଉଛି। ଏକା ମୁଁ ନୁହେଁ, ଏହା ତ ଜଗତର ନିୟମ। ପଦ୍ମ ଫୁଲଟିକୁ ଲୋକେ ଆଦରରେ ତୋଳି ଆଣନ୍ତି। କେଉଁ ପୁଷ୍କରଣୀରେ ତାର ଜନ୍ମ ପରେ ସେ କଥା ଆଉ ସେମାନେ ମନେ ରଖନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏହି ବିଚାରରେ ଆମମାନଙ୍କ ରୁଚି ଅରୁଚି ରାଗ ବିରାଗ କେତେ ମିଥ୍ୟା ନୁହେଁ। ଆମେ ଯାହାକୁ ଦେଖି ନାକ ଟେକୁ ତାହାରି ବକ୍ଷରେ ହୁଏତ କମଳ ଯୋନିଙ୍କର କେଉଁ ଦିବ୍ୟ ସ୍ୱପ୍ନ ସମ୍ଭାବିତ ହେଉଛି। ତେଣୁ ଋଷିଙ୍କ ଦୃଷ୍ଟି ହିଁ ସତ୍ୟ। ଏହି ଧୂଳି ଗୋଟିଏ କଣା ମଧ୍ୟ ତାହାର ହୀନ ନୁହେଁ କି ଦିନ ନୁହେଁ। ରାଧାକାନ୍ତପୁର ଦିତଳ ପ୍ରାସାଦଟି ଆଜି ମନେ ପଡୁଛି। ଚତୁର୍ଦିଗରେ ଗୃହ, ସଂଲଗ୍ନ ନାରିକେଳ ବୃକ୍ଷ, ବେଶ ଖୋଲା ଦାଣ୍ଡ। ଯେପରି ମନେ ପଡୁଛି ଉପର ଗୋଟିଏ ଛାତ ଥିଲା। ଅନ୍ନପ୍ରାଶନ୍ୟ ବ୍ୟତୀତ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଜାତକର୍ମ, ଉପନୟନ, ବିବାହ ଆଦି ସମସ୍ତ ଏଇ ଗୃହରେ ସମ୍ପନ୍ନ ହୋଇଥିଲା। କେଉଁ ସ୍ଥାନରେ କେଉଁ ଶୁଭ କର୍ମ ସମ୍ପନ୍ନ ହୋଇଥିଲା ତାହା ଠାକୁର ମା ଓ ଖୁଡି ମା ମାନେ ବୁଲାଇ ଦେଖାଇଥିଲେ। ଏତେ ଦିନ ପରେ ଆଜି ସେ ସବୁ ଆଉ ମୋର ସ୍ମରଣ ହେଉନାହିଁ। କେବଳ ଦିନକର ଏକ ଆନନ୍ଦ ଭୋଜି ବିଷୟ ମନେ ଅଛି। ରାଧାକାନ୍ତପୁରର ଲମ୍ବା ବାରଣ୍ଡାରେ ତିନି ଭାଇ ଘରର ସବୁ ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ନେଇ ଖାଇ ବସିଥିଲେ। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଇଚ୍ଛାରେ ଏହି ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା ହୋଇଥିଲା। ମଝିରେ ଠାକୁର, ତାଙ୍କ ଗୋଟିଏ ପାର୍ଶ୍ୱରେ ରାମପଦ ଭାଇ, ଅନ୍ୟ ପାଖରେ ତାରାପଦ ଭାଇ। ତାଙ୍କ ବିପରୀତ ଦିଗରେ ଧାଡି ବାନ୍ଧି ବସିଲେ ଘରର ପୁତ୍ର କନ୍ୟା ମାନେ, ନରେନ ଭାଇ, ନାରାୟଣ, ଜୟରାଣୀ। ଜୟରାଣୀଙ୍କ କଥା ଭଲ ମନେ ଅଛି। ଶ୍ରଦ୍ଧେୟ ରାମପଦଙ୍କ ସେ ଏକମାତ୍ର କନ୍ୟା। ବର୍ତ୍ତୁଳ ସୁନ୍ଦର ପିତୁଳା ପରି ଚେହେରା, ବନ୍ୟ ଶ୍ୟାମଳ, ବୟସରେ ମୋ ଠାରୁ ପ୍ରାୟ ବର୍ଷେ ସାନ ବୋଧ ହୁଏ। କନ୍ୟାଟି ପ୍ରାଣ ଚଞ୍ଚଳା। ଦି ଦିନ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ସେ ଜ୍ୟେଷ୍ଠତା ଆମ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭାବରେ ଆଦରି ଯାଇଥିଲେ। ଦିନ ରାତି ସବୁବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କ ପାଖାପାଖି ବୁଲୁଥାଏ। ମା ମାନଙ୍କ ଠାରୁ ଶୁଣିଛି ଜନ୍ମୋତ୍ସବ ଦିନ ଗୁରୁଧାମ ମନ୍ଦିରରେ ସେ କାଳେ ଉଦ୍ଦାମ ଭାବରେ ଜୟଗୁରୁ ଗାଇ ନୃତ୍ୟ କରିଥିଲା। ଜୟରାଣୀକୁ ଠାକୁର ମଧ୍ୟ ଟିକେ ସ୍ନେହ ଚକ୍ଷୁରେ ଦେଖିଥିଲେ। ହୁଏତ ସେ ଜାଣିଥିଲେ ଜୟରାଣୀ ବେଶୀ ଦିନ ପାଇଁ ଏ ସଂସାରକୁ ଆସିନାହିଁ। ସେ ମତ୍ସ୍ୟ ମାୟା ଛେଦନ କରି କିଶୋର ବୟସରେ ହିଁ ଚାଲି ଯାଇଛି। ଜୀବନରେ ଆଉ ତାହା ସହିତ ମୋର ସାକ୍ଷାତ ହୋଇନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ତାହାର ହାସ୍ୟ ଭରା ମୁଖ ଏବଂ ବଡ ବଡ କଳା ଆଖିର ଚଞ୍ଚଳ ଦୃଷ୍ଟି ଆଜି ମଧ୍ୟ ମୋର ସ୍ମୃତି ପଥରେ ଜାଗି ଉଠିଛି। ସେଥର ଗୁରୁଧାମ ଯିବା ସମୟରେ ଠାକୁର ଦୁଇ ଭାଇଙ୍କ ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ କେତୋଟି ଛୋଟ ରୂପା ଗିନା ଓ ମୁଦି ନେଇ ଯାଇଥିଲେ। ମୋର ମନେ ଅଛି, ଗିନା ଗୁଡିକ ଘିଅ ଗିନା ପରି ଛୋଟ। ମୋଟ କଥା, ସେ ବର୍ଷ କୁତୁବପୁର ଓ ରାଧାକାନ୍ତପୁରରେ ଠାକୁର ଏକାନ୍ତ ଆତ୍ମୀୟ ମାନଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ କେତେ ଦିନ ଧରି ଆତ୍ମୀୟତାର ଅଭିନୟ କରି ଆସିଥିଲେ। ଦିନ ଶେଷ ହୋଇ ଆସୁଛି। ଆମେମାନେ ନ ଜାଣିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ସର୍ବଦା ତାଙ୍କର ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ମନେ ଥିଲା। ଗୁରୁଧାମରୁ ଫେରି ହାଉଡାରେ ଫଣୀ ବାବୁଙ୍କ ଗୃହକୁ ଲାଗି ସେଇ ଘର ଅନ୍ୟ ଅଂଶ 204 ତାଲା ରୋଡକୁ ଭଡାରେ ନିଆଗଲା। ଆମ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ନେଇ ଠାକୁର ସେଇ ଘରେ କେତେ ମାସ ପାଇଁ ସ୍ଥାୟୀ ସ୍ଥାନ ଜମାଇଲେ। ଖଡକୁସୁମା ଆର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଦର୍ପଣରେ 1365 ରୁ 1366 ଫଣୀବାବୁଙ୍କ ଭଗିନୀ ଶ୍ରୀ ସୁଖଦେବ ସେନ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ମୋ ପିଲାବେଳର ମାଷ୍ଟର ମହାଶୟ ସୁଖ ମାମୁ ପ୍ରଥରେ ଗୁରୁ ନିବନ୍ଧରେ ଏହି ସମୟରେ ବିସ୍ତୃତ ବିବରଣୀ ଲିପିବଦ୍ଧ କରିଛନ୍ତି। କୌତୂହଳୀ ପାଠକ ସେଇ ସୁଲିଖିତ ରଚନାରୁ ବହୁ ତଥ୍ୟ ପ୍ରାପ୍ତ ହୋଇପାରିବେ। ସେତେବେଳେ ପାଖ ଘରକୁ ଯାଇ ମାମୁ ପ୍ରଭୃତିଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଉତ୍ପାତ କରିବା ମୋର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଥିଲା। ମୁଁ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ କନ୍ୟା, ଅତ ଯେତେ ମାଙ୍କଡାମି କଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ କାହାରି କିଛି କହିବାକୁ ସାହସ ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ମୋତେ ଆଉ ପାଏ କିଏ? ଏଇ ଘରେ ଏହା କର ନାହିଁ, ତାହା କର ନାହିଁ, ତାହା କହ ନାହିଁ, ଏପରି କେତେ ବିଧି ନିଷେଧ। ସେ ଘରେ ଅବାଧ ସ୍ୱାଧୀନତା। ତେଣୁ ସମୟ ପାଇଲା ମାତ୍ରେ ଦିଦିମଣିଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ ଚାଲିଯାଏ। ଏଇ ଅଳ୍ପ ବୟସରେ ଏଭଳି ଭାବରେ ମିତ୍ର ପରିବାର ସଙ୍ଗରେ ମୋର ଗଭୀର ସ୍ନେହର ବନ୍ଧନ ଗଢି ଉଠିଥିଲା। ବାହାରେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଜାଣନ୍ତି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ନିକଟରେ ଲୀଳାର ଅବାଧ ପ୍ରଶ୍ରୟ। କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଯେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କିଭଳି ଭୟ କରେ ଏବଂ ଅତି ଛୋଟ କଥାରେ ସେ ଦିନେ ଦିନେ କିଭଳି ଶାସନ କରନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କର ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦେଶ ଥିଲା ବ୍ୟତୀତ ଅନ୍ୟତ୍ର ବୁଲିବାକୁ ଯିବ ନାହିଁ, ଅନ୍ୟ ଠାକୁ ଅର୍ଥ ଅନ୍ୟ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ଘରକୁ। ମୋର ସାଙ୍ଗସାଥି ଚିରଦିନ ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ନିଜେ। ତେବେ ଡାକ୍ତର ବାବୁଙ୍କ ପରିଚୟ ସୂତ୍ରରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ପରିବାର ସଙ୍ଗରେ ମା ମାନଙ୍କର ଆଳାପ ହେଲା। ସେଇ ଘରେ ମୋ ବୟସରେ 2 ଜଣ ପୁଅ ଝିଅ ଥିଲେ। ସେମାନେ ମଝିରେ ମଝିରେ ଆମ ଘରକୁ ଆସନ୍ତି, ମତେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଧିକାଂଶ ସମୟରେ ତାଙ୍କ ଘରକୁ ଡାକନ୍ତି। ଯିବାକୁ ଅନୁମତି ନାହିଁ, ଖୁବ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଥିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଯାଇପାରେ ନାହିଁ। ଦିନେ ଦୈବ କ୍ରମେ ଡାକ୍ତର ବାବୁଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ଭଣଜା ମତେ ନେଇ ବୁଲିବାକୁ ବାହାରିଲେ। ସମୁଦ୍ର କୂଳକୁ ଯିବାର କଥା ଥିଲା, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୋ ଅନୁରୋଧରେ ସେ ମତେ ମୋର କେତେ ଜଣ ବନ୍ଧୁ ବାନ୍ଧବୀଙ୍କ ଘରକୁ ନେଇଗଲେ। ଦି ଚାରିପଦ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରି ଚାଲି ଆସିବ ବୋଲି ଭାବିଥିଲି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେମାନେ ଆଉ ମତେ ଛାଡ଼ିଲେ ନାହିଁ। ଖେଳନା କଣ୍ଢେଇ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଖେଳୁ ଖେଳୁ ମୁଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ସମୟରେ ମାତ୍ରା ଜ୍ଞାନ ହରାଇ ବସିଲି। ପ୍ରମାଦ ଆଶଙ୍କାରେ ସଙ୍ଗୀ ଭଦ୍ରଲୋକ ଯେତେ ଡାକିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ରହ କହି ସମୟ ଗଡାଇ ଦେଲି। ନିଶା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଭାଙ୍ଗିଲା ସେତେବେଳକୁ ସନ୍ଧ୍ୟା ଆଗତ ପ୍ରାୟ। ରାସ୍ତାକୁ ଓହ୍ଲାଇ ବୁଝିଲି କାମଟା ଖରାପ କଲି। କେଜାଣି ଆଜି କପାଳରେ କଣ ଅଛି। ନୀଳାଚଳ କୁଟୀରରେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଖୋଜା ପଡିଲାଣି। ମୁଁ କୁଆଡେ ଗଲି ବୋଲି ମତେ ଖୋଜିବାକୁ ହରେନ ଭାଇ କି ଅନ୍ୟ କେହି ବାହାରି ଗଲେଣି। ଠାକୁର ନିଜେ ଛାତ ଉପରେ ମୋ ପଥ ଛାଇଁ ବସିଥାନ୍ତି। କଡା ହଲାଇବା ମାତ୍ରେ ସେ ନିଜେ ଆସି ଛାତ ଧାରରେ ଠିଆ ହୋଇ କହିଲେ, କିଏ? ସେହି ଗମ୍ଭୀର ପ୍ରଶ୍ନରେ ଡାକ୍ତର ମାଙ୍କର ଆତ୍ମୀୟ ଜଣକ ଉତ୍ତର କଲେ, ମୁଁ ଝିଅକୁ ନେଇ ଆସୁଛି, ମୁଁ ଯେପରି ଆଉ ନାହିଁ। ସେତେବେଳକୁ ସେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନର ଭଙ୍ଗୀରେ ମୋ ପ୍ରାଣ ଉଡିଗଲାଣି। ଏତେବେଳେ ଯାଏ ସେ କେଉଁଠି ଥିଲା? ଆମ ପକ୍ଷ ସମର୍ଥନ ସୁଯୋଗ ପାଇ ମୋ ବାହନ ବିଚାର କହିଲେ, ବିମଳ ଘରେ ଥିଲା। ମୁଁ କେତେବେଳୁ କହିଲେଣି, ଚାଲ ଘରକୁ ଯିବା। ଏଇ କିନ୍ତୁ କୌଣସି ପ୍ରକାରରେ ଆସିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କଲା ନାହିଁ। ତାହେଲେ ଯେଉଁଠି ଥିଲା ତାକୁ ସେଠାକୁ ଯିବାକୁ କହିଦେ, ଏଠାକୁ ଆସିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି କହି ମୋର ଭାଗ୍ୟ ବିଧାତା ସେଠାରୁ ଅପସରି ଗଲେ। ସେଦିନ ସହଜରେ ସେ ରାୟ ସେ ଓଲଟାଇଲେ ନାହିଁ। ଡାକ୍ତର ମା, ହରେନ ଭାଇ ଡାକ୍ତର ମାଙ୍କର ସେହି ପୁତୁରା, ଏହି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ବିନୟରେ ସେଦିନ ମୋ ପାଇଁ ନୀଳାଚଳ କୁଟୀର ଦ୍ୱାର ଖୋଲିଥିଲା। ମୋ ସହିତ ବାକ୍ୟାଳାପ 3-4 ଦିନ ଧରି ମୋ ମୁଖ ଦର୍ଶନ ମଧ୍ୟ କରିନଥିଲେ ସେ। ମୋଟ କଥା ଏଭଳି ଭାବରେ ଶାସିତ ହୋଇଥିଲି ଯେ କାହାରି ଘରକୁ ଯିବା ରୁଚି ସେହି ଶୈଶବରେ ହିଁ ଯେପରି ମରି ଯାଇଥିଲା। ସେହି ମୁଁ ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟଙ୍କ ଘରକୁ ଯିବାର ଅବାଧ ଛାଡପତ୍ର ପାଇଗଲି। ତାହା ଯେ କେତେ ମୁକ୍ତିର ଉଲ୍ଲାସ। ତାହା ଛଡା ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ନିକଟରେ ଯେପରି ଶାସନ ରହୁଥାଏ, ଠିକ ସେତିକି ତୋଷଣ ଦିଦିମଣିଙ୍କ ନିକଟରୁ ପାଉଥାଏ। ମୋର କୌଣସି ଅତ୍ୟାଚାରରେ ସେମାନେ କେବେହେଲେ ବାଧା ଦିଅନ୍ତେ ନାହିଁ। ଫଳରେ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ସେତେବେଳେ ମୋ ଆଖିରେ ପଡିଥିଲା। ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟଙ୍କୁ ବାବା କେତେ ନିର୍ଭର କରନ୍ତି। ସବୁ କଥାରେ ତାଙ୍କ ନିକଟକୁ ଫଣିକୁ ଡାକରା ପଡେ। ତାହାର ଭିତରେ ଦିନେ ପୁଣି କଣ ହେଲା କେଜାଣି, ହଠାତ୍ ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ ଆମ ଘରକୁ ଆସିବା ବନ୍ଦ କରିଦେଲେ। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଉପରେ କେଉଁ କାରଣରୁ କେଜାଣି ତାଙ୍କ ରାଗ ନା ଅଭିମାନ ହୋଇଥାଏ। ମା ମାନଙ୍କ ମୁଖରୁ ଆଭାସ ପାଇ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟ ରାଗ ଅଭିମାନ ଯାହା ହେବାର ହେଲା ତାହା ଏକ ଅସ୍ୱସ୍ତିକର ପରିସ୍ଥିତି। ଜ୍ଞାନ ବୁଦ୍ଧିରେ ଯେତେ ବଡ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ନା କାହିଁକି, ହୃଦୟ ବ୍ୟାପାରରେ ଆମ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ପିଲା ବୋଲି କହିଲେ ଅତ୍ୟୁକ୍ତି ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଗୋଟିଏ ଦିଗରେ ଯେପରି ତାଙ୍କର ପ୍ରବୀଣତାର ଅନ୍ତ ନଥିଲା, ଅନ୍ୟ ଦିଗରେ ସେହିପରି ଥିଲା ବାଳକ ସ୍ୱଭାବର ଚୂଡାନ୍ତ ସରଳତା। ଶିଷ୍ୟ ଭକ୍ତ ମାନଙ୍କ ବ୍ୟବହାରରେ ସେ ମନୋବ୍ୟଥା ହେତୁ ଆହାର କରିପାରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ରାତ୍ରି ନିଦ ହୁଏ ନାହିଁ, ଆଖିରୁ ଲୁହ ଝରେ। ଏହା ମୁଁ କେତେଥର ଦେଖିଛି। ସେଥିରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଠାକୁର ମନରେ ବହୁତ କଷ୍ଟ ପାଇଥିଲେ। ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ ମଧ୍ୟ ତାଙ୍କର ସେଭଳି ଅବୁଝା ଆଦରର ସନ୍ତାନ ମନ କଷାକଷିକୁ ହୁଏତ ଆହୁରି ବଢାଇ ଦେବା ନିମିତ୍ତ ପାଖ ଘରେ ଠାକୁର ଥାଉ ସେ ପୂଜା ଛୁଟିରେ ବାହାରେ ବୁଲିବାକୁ ଚାଲିଗଲେ। ଦିଦିମଣି ଖୁବ ଆପତ୍ତି କରିଥିଲେ। ଯେତେ ବାରଣ କଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୃହକର୍ତ୍ତା ସେ ବାରଣ ନ ମାନିବା ଦେଖି ଶେଷରେ କହିଲେ, ଯିବାର ଅଛି ତ ତୁମେ ଏକା ଯାଅ। ତା ଶୁଣି ଭଦ୍ରଲୋକ ଚାଲିଗଲେ। ଜୟଗୁରୁ। ଏଇଠି ରଖୁଛେ, ମାନେ 140 ପେଜ ଯାଇଥିଲା।
ଜୟଗୁରୁ। ଶ୍ରୀ ଶ୍ରୀ ଜୟଗୁରୁ। ନୀଳାଚଳ ଠାକୁର ନିଗମାନନ୍ଦ, Anup Bhai read the Odia part of Nilachala Thakura Nikamananda. I am trying to summarize that a little bit. The page is from 136 to 140. Narayani Ma here is trying to explain her first introduction to Funny Bhai's family. That was really so beautifully she has narrated. She's saying that it started with a little bit of surprise when Sri Thakura introduced Santosh Ma as his eldest daughter, the little Narayani Ma, even though could not figure it out initially, but it didn't take long for her to accept that love and bond. That bond then became stronger. That bond became the bond of the life. She treasured that for the whole life. Funny Bhai's family with their youngest son, Gurudas, whose name was Khoka, along with Sri Thakura and Narayani Ma, they went together to Gurudham, which is Sri Thakura's birthplace. Narayani Ma is fondly remembering a few sweet memories of that trip, sweet and sour memories, we can say. Even though Khoka was 2 years older than Narayani Ma, she used to call him by his name as a friend, and Thakura also enjoyed that affection and playfulness. After reaching Gurudham, Narayani Ma is explaining her feelings as how she could not appreciate that place that much at that time. She was a little girl who lived most of her life in the beautiful place Puri, with the vastness of sky, ocean, nature, the rural, muddy, busy village at the riverbank of Vairab, the Kutapur, with dust, mud, and mosquitoes definitely was not that pleasing. However, she appreciated later that how Thakura is always so adjusting and adaptive to every situation, even though he traveled the whole world, he had experienced all the worldly beauty and luxury. It's how the divine lotus grows in the mud. You always respect and adore your roots. That's the true divinity. Narayani Ma remembered the Nigamananda Saraswata school there at the Gurudham. Also, at Radhakantapur, the two-storied house where Sri Thakura's Jatakarma, thread ceremony, wedding, etc., all the events are celebrated. And she is now expressing her feelings that she is truly lucky and fortunate that Thakura blessed her to visit Gurudham with him. And that was the only opportunity she could visit Gurudham in her life. She is remembering Thakura's younger brother, Ramapada's daughter, Jairani, who was 1 year younger than Narayani Ma. She was such full of life and always loved to chant Jayaguru. Thakura also loved her too much. Narayani Ma didn't get another chance to meet her. She left her mortal body at a very young age. Returning from Gurudham, Sri Thakura stayed for some time very close to Funny Bhai's house. So Narayani Ma got another beautiful opportunity to get closer to Funny Bhai's family. She used to play with Santosh Ma and their kids at their place. She truly enjoyed that a lot because she is saying that she was restricted to go to other places. When she was in Nilachal Kotira, she was not going to many places other than the seashore. How Thakura was
so upset when one day she went to a friend's house close to Kutira without letting anyone know about that. Thakura didn't like her to go to any other places without invitation also. Without invitation. And basically she was going to the seashore and not to any other people's place. She's explaining then, so that's why that was the reason she really liked in Funny Guy's place. She truly enjoyed that time, that how she was playing with their kids and enjoying with Santos's mass companion. Then she is explaining about the situation when Thakura's this so close devotee Funny Bhai had an incident when he stopped talking to Thakura. He stopped meeting with Thakura for some time, and Thakura was very hurt with that event, and he was just trying to remember always Funny Bhai, and later I think we will talk about more how Thakura was so excited when after the Durga Puja Chuti, he saw that Funny Bhai came back. So I'm just stopping here. I think we covered what we read today. Jayaguru. Jayaguru ଭାଇ ଶୁଣା ଯାଉଛି?
Jayaguru.
ଆଜ୍ଞା. तुम पूज्य फूला कोई भी ठकुरा सिरी पादे नीति लगुथिवी सिरी पादे नीति लगुथिवी तुमरी खबरा सौरभधारी तुमरी खबरा सौरभधारी विश्वमान प्राणा तो सुधिवी विश्वमान प्राणा तो सुधिवी विश्वमान प्राणा तो सुधिवी तुम पूज्य फूला कोई भी ठकुरा सिरी पादे नीति लगुथिवी सुबह चंदना कोई भी ठकुरा तुम सिरी अंगा लागी पाई सुबह चंदना कोई भी ठकुरा तुम सिरी अंगा लागी पाई दिव्य सुबसारे तुम्हारे मंदिरा दिव्य सुबसारे तुम्हारे मंदिरा हरि देवी जाने धूपा हुई हरि देवी जाने धूपा हुई दीप हो
रे तुम्हारी आरती करथिबी तुम्हारी आरती करथिबी तुम पूजा फूला होइबी ठाकुरा सिरी पादे नीति लागुथिबी कामना बसाना गर्भ अहंकार मानाभिमान व्याहति कामना बसाना गर्भ अहंकार मानाभिमान साधनीरणा सेवा होइबी साधनीरणा सेवा होइबी गोटी गोटी साबो मानो पुछी गोटी गोटी साबो मानो पुछी कोयली रसोरा कोई मुठ कोरा कोयली रसोरा कोई मुठ कोरा तुम प्रीति गीति गावथिबी तुम प्रीति गीति गावथिबी तुम पूजा फूला होइबी ठाकुरा सिरी पादे नीति लागुथिबी आशिबाजिबे गो जीवनार संजा उड़ी जीव मोरा प्राण पक्षी आशिबाजिबे गो जीवनार संजा उड़ी जीव मोरा प्राण पक्षी कोणी मोती के इबनी नयाना कोणी मोती के इबनी नयाना तुम कंज पादे थी बालकी तुम कंच पादे थी बालकी हाथ धरिब तुम नित्य पूरा हाथ धरिब तुम नित्य पूरा तुम नाम तुंडे गावथिबी तुम नाम तुंडे गावथिबी तुम पूज फूला होइबी ठाकुरा श्री पादे नीति लागुथिबी श्री पादे नीति लागुथिबी तुमरी भवारा सौरभधारी तुमरी भवारा सौरभधारी विश्वमान प्राणा तो पृथ्वी विश्वमान प्राणा तो पृथ्वी विश्वमान प्राणा तो पृथ्वी तुम पूज फूला होइबी ठाकुरा श्री पादे नीति लागुथिबी श्री पादे नीति लागुथिबी श्री पादे नीति लागुथिबी। जय
Jayaguru, Saraswata Part 1. Hence, our spiritual practice is to transform the desires of Sri Sri Thakur in our own lives. He shall direct our path if we have unmovable devotion and firm belief that He exists. Sri Guru Bhagavan performs spiritual practices through the practitioners. At that time, it becomes the perfection of the practice, but it becomes a disaster when the practitioner's ego does the spiritual practice. Hence, our spiritual practice is to follow Sri Gurudev's direction, keeping in our mind that He is our goal. He has advised us repeatedly to tolerate the sorrows and difficulties of this world with a smile and carry on towards our goal. The perfectioners are reminded again that their minds are purified by taking shelter at Sri Sri Thakur. However, the world remains the same as before. This is true education. Humans become victorious through true education. Humanity gains through politeness or egoless demeanor. Upon becoming an ideal human, wealth and competence are gained automatically. That wealth brings ultimate truth. However, due to modern education, which results in increased arrogance and pride, the abundance wealth created by the educated people is not utilized for the welfare of the population. That wealth is rather used for material enjoyment and pleasure. Hence, in ancient times, the prevalent education gained through the service of the Guru aimed to provide true education to the students by making them polite, humble, and renunciate and devoted to the welfare of people. Some may think with the changes in the world, the ideology also need to change. However, the changes in this world happen only outwardly, but the inherent set of rules remain unchanged. In the modern world, those fundamental rules have remained unchanged. Humans are tormented internally in the same manner by the tyranny of their six enemies. And those six enemies are faith, kindness, devotion, compassion, loving nature still exist in the same way. This is why he has called the repeated practice of the divine streams of consciousness as true education. For maintaining a livelihood and then preserving the mortal body, modern education could be adopted. But it seems that in order to preserve our national identity, the true education must aim towards and include sacrifice, control of faculty, humbleness, modesty, selflessness, and devotion to God. True education enlightens the heart of the disciples. Earning knowledge is spiritual initiation. The disciple is reborn with this initiation or gaining knowledge of self. It works especially well when the learning is based on delighting the Guru. When the devotee's mind is absorbed in meditating upon him, he appears in his conscious image. Jayaguru.
ଜୟଗୁରୁ ସକାଳ ସଂଘ ସେବା କରି ଆଜି ମୁଖ୍ୟତଃ ଚିତ୍ତ ବିଷୟରେ ଆଲୋଚନା କରାଯାଇକରି ଚିତ୍ତର କଣ ଇଫେକ୍ଟ ପଡୁଛି ଆମ ଉପରେ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ ଆଲୋଚନା କରାଯାଇଥିଲା। ଚିତ୍ତ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଯୋଉଟା କି ଆମ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀର ଅନ୍ତର୍ଗତ। ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ମରିଯିବା ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଶରୀରଟା ଡେଷ୍ଟ୍ରୟ ହେଇଗଲା, ଜଳ ଶରୀରଟା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଚିତ୍ତଟା ରହିଗଲା ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଦେହରେ। ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ପୁନର୍ବାର ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିବା, ମଣିଷ ମାନଙ୍କ କଥା କହୁଛି, ଆମ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଆସୁଛି। ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଆମର ସଂସ୍କାର, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଆମର ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ। ଏଇ ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷ ନେଇକରି ଆମେ ପୁନରାୟ ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥାଏ। ସେ ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ ଅବସ୍ଥାରେ ଆମର ଭୋଗ ହଉଛି, ଆଉ ଯୋଉ ସଂସ୍କାର, ସେ ସଂସ୍କାରଟା ହିଁ ଆମକୁ କର୍ମରେ ପ୍ରବୃତ୍ତ କରାଉଛି। ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କାମ କରୁଛେ ଏଇ ଜନ୍ମରେ, ସେ କାମ ଗୁଡାକ ପ୍ରାୟ ଆମର ସଂସ୍କାର ବସାରେ ହିଁ ହଉଛି। ଯାହାର ଯୋଉ ଭଳିଆ ସଂସ୍କାର ସେ ସେଇଭଳିଆ କାମ କରୁଛି। ସେ ସଂସ୍କାରଟା ଆସୁଛି କୋଉଠୁ ନା ଚିତ୍ତରୁ। ସେ ଚିତ୍ତଟା ହିଁ ସଂସ୍କାରର ଡେଟାବେସ୍। ଆମେ ଯାହା ଯାହା କରୁଛୁ ତାର ସବୁ କାମରେ ଗୋଟେ ସଂସ୍କାର ଆମ ଚିତ୍ତରେ ରହିଲା। ସେଇ ସଂସ୍କାରଟା ପୁନରାୟ ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିବା, ସେ ଆମ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆସିବ, ସେମିତି କାମରେ ପ୍ରବୃତ୍ତ କରିବ। ତାକୁ ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗାରେ କହିଛନ୍ତି, ମନେ ପଡୁନି କୋଉ ଶ୍ରୁତି ସ୍ମୃତି କି ମନେ ପଡୁନି, ଜୀବନୀ ବାଣୀ ବୋଧେ, ଯେ ଦିଟା ପିଲା ଧରନ୍ତୁ, ଗୋଟେ ପିଲା ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଛି ମାନେ ଛୋଟ ପିଲା, ସେ ତାର ବସିକିରି ମାନେ ପୂଜାପୂଜି ମାନେ ବାଲି ଖେଳ କଲାବେଳେ ପୂଜା କରୁଛି। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ପିଲା କୀଟ ପତଙ୍ଗକୁ ମାରି ବୁଲୁଛି। ଛୋଟ ପିଲା ଦିଟା, ତାଙ୍କ ସଂସ୍କାର କାହିଁକି ହେଇଛି ନା ପୂର୍ବ ଜନ୍ମର। ଇଏ ଜଣେ ଭଲ ସଂସ୍କାର ବି ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଛି, ଜଣେ ଖରାପ ସଂସ୍କାର ବି ଜନ୍ମ ହେଇଛି। ସଂସ୍କାର ଗୁଡାକ ଆମକୁ କର୍ମରେ ଭୋଗ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ ଆମକୁ ଭୋଗ କରାଉଛି। ଏଇ ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଦ୍ଵାରା ଆମେ ଚାଲିଛୁ ଜନ୍ମ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ଚାଲିଛି। ସେ କଥା କହୁଛନ୍ତି, ଯେହେତୁ ଆମ ଚିତ୍ତଟା ଆମକୁ ସଂସ୍କାର କହୁଛି ଯେ ଏଇଟା କର, ସେଇଟା କର, ଏଇଟା ଭଲ, ଏଇଟା ଭଲ ନୁହେଁ, ଏଇଟା ଭଲ ନୁହେଁ, ଏଇଟା କରନା, ଷ୍ଟେ ଆୱେ ଫ୍ରମ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍, କୋଉଟା ଉପାଦେୟ, କୋଉଟା ହେୟ, ଏ ବିଷୟ ଆମକୁ ଜଣେଇ ଦେଇକିରି ଆମେ ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ମାତୁଛନ୍ତି। ସେଥିରେ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଚିତ୍ତ ଯେପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆମର ସଂସ୍କାର ରହିଛି, ଯେପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆମ ସଂସ୍କାର ଯାଇନାହିଁ, ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଚିତ୍ତ ମଳ ବିଦୂରିତ ହୋଇନାହିଁ, ବୁକିଂ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ କହିଲେ, ଯେପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆମର ଚିତ୍ତ ମଳ ବିଦୂରିତ ହୋଇନାହିଁ, ସେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷ ଚାଲିଯିବ ଆମର। ଠାକୁର କହିଲେ ଯେ ଯାହା ସାଧନା କର, ତପ ଏନି ସାଧନା, ସବୁ ସାଧନାର ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ହେଲା ଏଇ ଚିତ୍ତ ମଳ ବିଦୂରିତ କରିବା ବା ଚିତ୍ତ ଶୁଦ୍ଧି କରିବା। ଚିତ୍ତ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଶୁଦ୍ଧ ହେଇଯିବ, ଆମକୁ ଆଉ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ କର୍ମରେ ପ୍ରବୃତ୍ତ ହବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି, ସେ କର୍ମ ଗୁଡାକ ନିଷ୍କାମ କର୍ମ ହେଇଯିବ, ସକାମ କର୍ମ ରହିବ ନାହିଁ। ଯେତେବେଳେ ନିଷ୍କାମ କର୍ମ ହେଇଯିବ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଚିତ୍ତମୂଳ ବିଦ୍ୟୁତ ହେଇଯିବ, ସେତେବେଳେ ଜ୍ଞାନ ଆପଣା ଛାଏଁ ଫୁଟି ଉଠିବ। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଭାଷା, ଚିତ୍ତ ପରିଷ୍କାର ହେଇଗଲା ପରେ ଜ୍ଞାନ ଆପଣା ଛାଏଁ ଫୁଟି ଉଠିବ। ଆଉ ଜ୍ଞାନ ଫୁଟି ଉଠିବ, କାମ ସରିଗଲା, ଆଉ କଣ, ଖେଳ ଖତମ। ତେଣୁ ଏଇ ବିଷୟରେ ଆଜି ମୁଖ୍ୟତଃ ଆଲୋଚନା ହେଇଥିଲା। ସଂଘ ଆଲୋଚନାଟା ଏଇ ରଖୁଛି ମୁଁ। ଯଦି କାହାର କିଛି କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ଅଛି ପଚାରନ୍ତୁ।
ଜୟ ଭାଇ, ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ଥିଲା। ଅବଶ୍ୟ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଶରୀର ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀର ଅଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯୋଉ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀରଟା ସେଇଟା ଏଇ ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ ଆଉ ସଂସ୍କାର ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷଟା କହିଲେ ସେଇଥିରୁ ତିଆରି ହଉ ନା କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ମାନେ ସ୍ଥୂଳର ପାର୍ଟ ନା ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମର ପାର୍ଟ?
କାରଣଟା କଣ ହେଲା?
କାରଣ ଶରୀର ଯୋଉ ଅଛି, ଯୋଉ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଶରୀର କାରଣ ଶରୀର, ତ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମର ପାର୍ଟ ନା ସ୍ଥୂଳର ପାର୍ଟ? ଆଉ ଯୋଉ କହିଲେ ଆପଣ ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ
କହୁଛି ଏହା ଉପରେ ରାମତୀର୍ଥ ଗୋଟେ ଏକଦମ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଆର୍ଟିକଲ ଲେଖିଥିଲେ, ଆଜର ପବ୍ଲିଶ ହେଇଛି, ତାକୁ ବହୁତ ସମୟ ଲାଗିବ, ଖାଲି କୁଇକଲି କହିଦଉଛି। ଆମ ବେଳକୁ ମାନେ ଆମ ଜୀବ ବେଳକୁ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଭିତରେ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ, ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଭିତରେ ହେଲା କାରଣ। ଆଗେ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ନଷ୍ଟ ହବ, ତାପରେ ସାଧାରଣତଃ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ନଷ୍ଟ ହବ, ତାପରେ କାରଣ। କାରଣ ହେଲା ବୀଜ ବା ମଞ୍ଜି, ସେଇଠି ସବୁ ରହିଛି। ଯେତେବେଳେ ପୁଣି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହଉଛି, ସୃଷ୍ଟି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହଉଛି, ସେଇ ମଞ୍ଜିରୁ ପୁଣି ଗଛ ହେଇକି ପୁଣି ମାତିଲା, ମାନେ ଚାଲିଲା, ଚାରିଆଡେ ଗଲା। କିନ୍ତୁ ଜଗତ ଇଏରେ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଅପୋଜିଟ୍। ଏନିୱେ ସେକୁ ଯିବାନି। ଜଗତ ଆଗେ ସ୍ଥୂଳ, ତାକୁ ବ୍ୟାପକ ରହିଛି ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ, ତାକୁ ବ୍ୟାପକ ରହିଛି କାରଣ। ଏନିୱେ କାରଣଟା ହେଲା ମଞ୍ଜି। ସାଧନା ଦ୍ଵାରା ବୋଥ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଆଉ କାରଣକୁ ନଷ୍ଟ କରିଦିଆଯାଇପାରେ। ସ୍ଥୂଳ ରହିଛି, ସ୍ଥୂଳ ରହିବ, ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯିବ, କାରଣ ହେଇଯିବ, କାରଣ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯିବ। ଯେତେବେଳେ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ କାରଣ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଗଲା, କେବଳ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ରହିଲା, ସେମାନେ ହେଲେ ଜୀବନ ମୁକ୍ତ ପୁରୁଷ। ସେମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମରିଯିବେ, ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ତାଙ୍କର ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଦେହ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଗଲା, ଯେହେତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ନାହିଁ, ଯେହେତୁ ତାଙ୍କର କାରଣ ନାହିଁ, ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଭାଷାରେ ଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ଭାଷାରେ ଇହୈବ ସମବିଲୀୟତେ, ମାନେ ଇମିଡିଏଟଲି କଣ ନିର୍ବାଣ ମୁକ୍ତି ଲାଭ କରିଗଲେ। ତେଣୁ ମାନେ କହିବା କଥା ଯେ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଅଛି, ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ କାରଣ ସାଧାରଣତଃ ନଷ୍ଟ କରିଦେଇଯାଇପାରେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ସାଧାରଣ ଲୋକଙ୍କର ଜଷ୍ଟ ଅପୋଜିଟ୍ ହବ। କଣ? ଆଗେ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଯିବ, ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ କାରଣ ରହିଲେ। ତାପରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ପ୍ରଳୟ ହବ, ସେତେବେଳେ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ରହିଗଲା, ମାନେ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଗଲା, କାରଣଟା ରହିଲା, ବୀଜ ଆକାରରେ ରହିଲା। ସେଇ ପୁଣି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା, ସେଇ କାରଣରୁ ପୁଣି ବୀଜ ମାନେ ମଞ୍ଜି ହେଇକି ସେଇ ମଞ୍ଜିରୁ ଗଛ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା। This is the whole thing. Hopefully made sense, right?
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ follow-up question, sorry.
Sure.
ତାହେଲେ ସେଇ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ଏଇଟା ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର କାରଣ ଶରୀର ଅଛି ନା ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ କାରଣ? ତାହେଲେ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ବି ତାହେଲେ ଡିପେଣ୍ଡ କରୁଛି ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କର୍ମ କରୁଛେ ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ବନୁଛି ନା କାରଣ ଶରୀରର ସୋର୍ସ କଣ?
ସେଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ସେଇ ସମସ୍ତ ସଂସ୍କାର ଗୁଡାକ ସେଇ ବୀଜ ଆକାରରେ କାରଣ ଶରୀରରେ ଗଚ୍ଛିତ ରହିଲା। ପୁଣି ସେ କାରଣ ମାନେ ଗଜା ହେଲା।
ତାହେଲେ
ପୁଣି ଚାଲିଲା ଆଉ।
ତାହେଲେ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ବି ଡିପେଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅନ୍ ଆୱାର ୱେ ଅଫ ୱାର୍କ, ଆଉ ଆମେ ଭଲ କରୁଛେ କାମ ଖରାପ କରୁଛେ ତା ଅନୁସାରେ ସେ କାରଣ ଶରୀରଟା ବି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହଉଥିବ। ନେକ୍ସଟ
ମଞ୍ଜିରେ ସେ ରହିଲା ଆଉ। ଅଧିକାଂଶ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମରେ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଉଛି, ମାନେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଭୋଗ ହେଇଯାଉଛି, ଭୋଗର ଅନେକ ଜିନିଷ ଭୋଗରେ ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଉଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଅସଲ ମଞ୍ଜି ଯୋଉଟା ବାସନା ଗୁଡାକ, ସେ ବାସନା ଗୁଡାକ କାରଣ ଶରୀରରେ ରହିଲା। ପୁଣି ଯେତେ ଗଛ ହେଲା, ସେଇ ବାସନାରୁ ପୁଣି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା, କର୍ମ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଗଲା। ବାସନା ନଥିଲେ କର୍ମ ଆସିବ ନାହିଁ। ଆସିବ ନାହିଁ କଣ? ନିଷ୍କାମ କର୍ମ, ନିଷ୍କାମ କର୍ମ ହେଇଯିବ। ଯେହେତୁ ବାସନା ରହିଛି, କାରଣରୁ ଆସିଲା, ପୁଣି ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ହେଲା, ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମରୁ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ହେଲା, ସେଇ ବାସନା ହିଁ ଆମକୁ କର୍ମରେ ପ୍ରଭୁତ୍ୱ କରାଉଛି। ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି ଆମେ ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛୁ, ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁନାହିଁ ସେ ଜିନିଷ ଆମେ କରିବାକୁ ଆଭଏଡ୍ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛୁ। ଆଭଏଡ୍ କରିବା କଥା ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ କର୍ମ। ହେଲା।
ସେଇ ପାଖାପାଖି ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ଅଛି, ମାନେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀରଟା ହୁଏ, ମାନେ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ପରେ ଯୋଉ ହୁଏ, ଯେ ସେଇଟା ବି କଷ୍ଟ ପାଏ।
କଷ୍ଟର ସ୍ଥୂଳର କଷ୍ଟ ନାହିଁ, ଭୋଗଟା ସ୍ଥୂଳର ନାହିଁ। ଭୋଗଟା ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀର ଭୋଗ କରୁଛି, ମନ ହିଁ ଭୋଗ କରୁଛି। ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଶରୀରଟା ଜଡ, ମାଟି, ମାଟି ମିଶିଯିବ। ସ୍ଥୂଳର କିଛି ଭୋଗ ନାହିଁ। ଭୋଗଟା ହିଁ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମର, ଭୋଗଟା ହିଁ ମନର। ମନ ହିଁ ଆନନ୍ଦ ଭୋଗ କରୁଛି, ମନ ହିଁ ମାନେ ନିରାନନ୍ଦ ଭୋଗ କରୁଛି। ଯାହା ଯେତେ ଭୋଗ ହଉଛି ସବୁ ସେଇ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମରେ।
ହଁ, ଯେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଠାକୁର ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ପ୍ରିୟ ଶିଷ୍ୟଙ୍କର କଣ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ଛାତିରେ ବହୁତ ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣା ହଉଥିଲା, ସେଇଟା ବି ଠାକୁର ନେଇଥିଲେ। ଲେଖା ସେ ମୁଁ ପଢୁଥିଲି ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ଯେ ସେ ଶିଷ୍ୟ ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀରରେ ସେ ତାଙ୍କ ଛାତିରେ ବହୁତ ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣା ହଉଥିଲା, ସେଇଟାକୁ ଠାକୁର ନେଇଥିଲେ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ବି ବହୁତ ସମୟରେ ଛାତିରେ ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣା ହଉଥିଲା। ନୀଳାଚଳ ଠାକୁର ନିଗମାନନ୍ଦ
ସ୍ୱରୂପାନନ୍ଦଙ୍କର ଠାକୁର ନେଇଥିଲେ ବୋଧେ, ଜ୍ଞାନ ଭାଇ ଜାଣିଛି କି ଆଉ କାହାର ଏମିତି ଅଛି?
ନାଇଁ ଆଉ କାହାର ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି, ସ୍ୱରୂପାନନ୍ଦ ନେଇଥିଲେ କିନ୍ତୁ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ତାଙ୍କର କଷ୍ଟ ପାଉଥିଲା ବୋଲି ମୁଁ ପଢିନି। ତାଙ୍କର ସ୍ଥୂଳରେ ଥିଲାବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର କଷ୍ଟ ହଉଥିଲା, ସେ ତାକୁ ନେଇଥିଲେ, ଯୋଉଟା ଏଠି ହେଲା ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂ ରେ ଯୋଉଟା କଷ୍ଟ ପାଇଲେ।
ହଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ମଲା ପରେ କାହାର ନବା ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି।
ଭାଇ ସେ ପେଜ ଟା ମୁଁ ପଠେଇବି ଏବେ ନାହିଁ, ମୁଁ କାଲି ରାତିରେ ସେଟା ପଢୁଥିଲି। ଏ ଯୋଉ ନାରାୟଣୀ ମା ଯୋଉ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ସେଟା ସେଇଥିରେ ପଢୁଥିଲି, ସେଥିରେ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ଯେ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଶରୀରରେ ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରିୟ ଶିଷ୍ୟ କଷ୍ଟ ପାଉଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତାକୁ ସେ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ହୃତ୍ପିଣ୍ଡର ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଣାଟାକୁ ଠାକୁର ନେଇକି ତାଙ୍କ ବହୁତ ସମୟରେ ସେଇଟା ହଉଥିଲା, ମାନେ 12 ବର୍ଷ କାଳ ବି ହଉଥିଲା ବୋଲି ମଝିରେ ମଝିରେ
କହିଦେଲେ ଦେଖିଦେବି।
ହଁ ଭାଇ ମୁଁ କହିଦେବି। ହଁ
ହଉ, ସମୟ ହେଇଗଲାଣି, ଯିବା ୱାଇ ସେସନ କୁ ଯିବା। ଭକ୍ତିମା ସାରସ୍ୱତ ପ୍ଲିଜ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ଦ ପ୍ରେୟାର। ଜୟ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା ସହିତ
ଜୟ Paramare Jini Chuki Guru Gidana Guru Brahma Shiva Guru Narayana Guru Brahma Shiva Guru Narayana Akhanda Mandale Vyapta Tribhuvana Akhanda Mandale Vyapta Tribhuvana Paramatma Padam Karanti Darsanam Paramatma Padam Karanti Darsanam Dhyane Jogi Bhaganare Jadhyane Jogi Maganare Jini Jogi Guru Kidanam Bindu Nadakara Tita Niranjana Bindu Nadakara Tita Niranjana Janara Tita Satya Sanatana Janara Tita Satya Sanatana Jnana Tatamara Angara Bhusana Jnana Tatamara Angara Bhusana Bhukti Mukti Lave Karanare Bhukti Mukti
जन्मा जन्मांतर भाग्य राजना जन्मा जन्मांतर भाग्य राजना कले पुण्य फले परिबुदर्शना कले पुण्य फले परिबुदर्शना आए सुख कृपा बिंदु बीतारणा आए सुख कृपा बिंदु बीतारणा करी तारे दीना पदमरे करी तारे दीना अदमरे जिनी चुकी गुरु गिदना मरण दुआरे दे दर्शना मरण दुआरे दे दर्शना मुक्ति पथे जीवे करन्ति चारणा कीटंक परि कृपा पारायणा भव पारावार तारण रे जिनी चुकी गुरु किदाना सेतनार रे ब्रह्मा परामरे जिनी चुकी गुरु
Jayaguru young aspirants, this is Bhaktima and I will be conducting our YA session for today. First, we'll get started with attendance, but in the meantime, please have your reading material ready in front of you so that we can follow along afterwards. So with attendance, let's get started. Aditi?
Jayaguru Prabhuji.
Jayaguru. Adyasa? Parshi?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Anik?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Ansh?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Anshu? Jeet?
Jayaguru से पूजा नहीं
Jayaguru. Aryan?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Ashwita? Jayaguru. Jamu?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Divyam? Yemi? Jagrat?
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Naitik? Nivriti?
Jayaguru ma.
Jayaguru. Pratisha?
Jayaguru ma.
Jayaguru. Pratyush?
Jayaguru ma.
Jayaguru. Sandhi?
Jayaguru ma.
Jayaguru. Saraswat?
Jayaguru ma.
Jayaguru. Sarthak? Bobby,
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, Shilpi,
Jayaguru ma'am.
Jayaguru, Shreyasi, Jayaguru ma'am, Jayaguru, Jimmy,
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, Simran,
Jayaguru ma'am.
Jayaguru, Trija,
Jayaguru ma'am.
Jayaguru, Suhani,
Jayaguru ma'am.
Jayaguru, Yukta,
Jayaguru ma'am.
Jayaguru. I think that completes our attendance. Is there anyone that I missed? If not, Saraswat, can you please explain the meaning of the song you just sang?
Jayu. The song starts with the question that if we know who is Sri Gurudev, then it answers that saying that Guru himself is Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. Essentially, Sarva Devo Maya Guru. Then it explains Guru is beyond everything, and we have to get the shelter of Sri Gurudev as a result of our good work, life after life. Sri Gurudev is the most merciful, and he can only bless the devotees to the salvation. Not only during life, but even after death, he, with his kindness, does the upliftment of the soul. Then the song ends saying that who else can be so merciful like him? Jayu.
Jayaguru, thank you so much for explaining the meaning of this very deep and wonderful song. There's so much to remember and understand from it. And the words used in the song are really important. And that brings us to our topic for today, because today we're talking about how words are powerful and how we should use them and different situations about it. Because words are a fundamental part of our daily lives, since we use them to communicate, share ideas, and express our feelings. And it's not just about the words, but it's also about the way we say our words, because they have a lot of impact. You probably noticed in your day-to-day experiences that when speaking politely or with gentle words, it has a different impact on people with building relationships and earning respect, and the opposite when speaking recklessly or maybe a little bit impolitely, that can have the opposite effect. So it's really important to be mindful of how we speak, because our words really reflect our thoughts and intentions. And in Sanskrit, there's this interesting saying that talks about how to use our words wisely. And the saying is, Satyam vada priyam vada, na vada satyam apriyam. And so what this means is, you should speak the truth and speak kindly. And do not speak the truth in a way that is harsh or hurtful. And it's really important that we learn in our wise sessions and through many other ways that it's important to tell the truth, but it's also important to say it in a really kind and gentle way, in a way that doesn't hurt someone. Because you probably know that there's many circumstances and situations where even if you tell the truth, it can still be done in a harsh way. And this is something that Sri Chakra has also advised us to be truthful, but in a way that doesn't harm someone or hurt someone's feelings, because that also isn't the best thing to do. So in our reading material today, we'll talk about the influence and impact of speech through two different stories. And Saraswat will be reading for us today. Saraswat, can you read the first story for us right now?
Sure. The power of words. There were two who went to tour a city. On their way back to their village, while resting underneath a tree, they thought of taking something home. Nearby, they saw a fruit vendor selling different types of fruits. They decided to take some fruits to their homes. One by one, they approached the fruit vendor. The first friend went to the vendor and harshly asked, "How much do all the fruits cost?" His tone was full of arrogance. After hearing the price of the fruits, he got irritated and explained, "Why are you charging such a high price? Do you think I have never bought fruits before and don't know their value? You are trying to cheat me." The fruit vendor felt a little distressed, but did not express it in his face. While packing the fruits, he deliberately added some bad ones along with the good ones. He weighed the fruits, collected the money, and the person left. Next, the second friend approached the fruit vendor. In a callous voice, he asked the price of the fruit. While the vendor was weighing the fruit, the second friend kept accusing him of making mistakes and trying to cheat him. This upset the vendor, who replied, "I may be poor, but I have no intention of cheating you. Why are you saying this? If you want the fruits, then take them. Why are you bothering me? I have been doing this business for a long time. Why are you trying to pick a fight with me and ruin my reputation?" The second friend did not respond, paid for the fruits, and left. Once again, the fruit vendor included some bad fruits with the good ones. After some time, the third friend arrived. Since the first two friends had spoken rudely to him, the vendor was sitting dejectedly. The third friend approached him with kindness and courteously said, "Brother, it is almost the end of the day, and you still have all of these fruits to sell. When will you go home? You might have come here early in the morning and must feel very hungry." Hearing this, the fruit vendor's face lit up with happiness. He smiled and said, "Brother, our life is very hard. Who will look after us? It is heartwarming that there are caring and compassionate people in the world like you." Upon hearing your words, anyone's hunger and thirst will disappear. The world exists because of people like you. Would you like to purchase some fruits? The friend responded, "If I had more money, I would buy extra fruits, so that you could return home early. Anyway, here's all the money that I have. Please give me fruits based on your price after weighing them." Cheerfully, the vendor gave him only the best fruits, also including the freshest ones from the storage area. He even weighed the fruits at a lower price than he had for the other two friends, and added extra fruits as a gesture of gratitude. Then the fruit vendor did namaskar to the friend. The third friend's eyes filled with tears, and it felt as if they had formed a deep connection. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, thank you so much for reading this story. With this story, there's a fruit vendor and three friends visit the fruit vendor and have completely different experiences. So let's dive into this a little bit more. Does anyone have any questions first about what happened in the story? If not, let's move into our regular Q&A session. Aishi, why did the fruit vendor treat the first two friends differently than the third friend?
Jayaguru, he treated them differently because they treated him with disrespect and arrogance, and so I feel like he didn't want them to be happy, I guess, because they were being mean to him. Jayaguru,
yeah, that's right. The first two friends were kind of really rude and disrespectful, and they hurt the vendor's feelings. Whereas the third friend was really nice, and so this led to different results for them. And so the vendor felt different ways with each friend talking to him. So how did each way affect the fruit vendor? Suhani, can you share what you think about how the choice of words really affected the vendor's feelings?
Jayaguru, it's like your feelings towards another person really influences how they react back. Since if you have a positive mindset that they would feel good about themselves, they would say something positive back. But if you were to say something that's more detrimental to their emotions, they're not going to feel good about themselves. Jayaguru,
yeah, that's so true. I think we all know the golden principle, treat others the way you want to be treated, and that really is reflected in the story because with the first two friends, the vendor really felt upset and disrespected, and then with the third friend, he felt appreciated and he felt uplifted, and so that was a completely different feeling just through the words, and we see that in the end, the third friend, since he acted very politely, he was more benefited in the end. He got the better fruits and he got a better discount and everyone was happy. So that's something interesting to remember. And thinking about the choice of words used, Nivritti, what kind of words make you happy when people tell them to you?
Thank you.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if someone tells you thank you, I think it makes the other person happy, especially when said it to someone, because you're appreciating them and you're making them feel good about themselves. Ashrita, what are other words that make you feel happy when people tell them to you?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. Let's see, some other words, maybe like if someone says like great job, or they praise you or compliment you or ask how you're doing. I think those are some words that can make someone feel happy and feel seen. And this really reflected in the fruit vendor's actions with the types of fruits that he gave each friend. Simran, do you think that it was right for the fruit vendor to give the better fruits to the polite friend and the bad fruits to the rude friend?
Grandma, yes, I really liked his decision, the fruit vendor's decision, because based on the way he got treated, that's how I would also react. Girl.
Yeah, that's fair. I think with this question, it's pretty open-ended. Like, you can go either way, but that's a fair response. Do you think that it was fair for the fruit vendor to do that?
Jayaguru, I think if I was a vendor, I'd be upset, but I think treating someone else meanly, like if you treat someone meanly, that doesn't mean that they should treat you meanly back. But I do understand his frustration, Jayaguru.
Yeah, that's another good point. Like, I think with this question, it can go either way. Like, one way you can see that it is fair because you're treating someone exactly how they treated you. But then another way, you're not continuing that cycle of like treating someone badly back. You're being the better person. So there's two ways to look at this. And I like both of your responses because they're interesting. And with the story, it really shows that with our words, like whether they're kind or rude, it really makes a big difference in how people react to us and respond to us. And this is like a really important thing to remember when we're speaking to someone, especially in different emotional situations where it's easy to speak, but it's hard to take something back. And now that we've kind of talked about how the words can affect people around us, we can now think about what happens when we don't speak and what kind of power does that have. So that's our second story. Saraswata, can you start reading The Silent Prince?
Jayaguru, The Silent Prince. Long, long ago, there lived a king in the southern part of India. He had one son who did not speak at all. However, he was not mute and had the ability to speak. The king tried various methods to make his son talk. He was unsuccessful. Many doctors from the kingdom tried and failed. The prince stayed silent. As a form of treatment, the king sent the prince outside of the capital to engage in various amusements. He reasoned that any of these situations could make his son talk. One time, the king sent his son on a deer hunting expedition. The prince was sitting on an elephant. He saw that one of the members of his hunting party was getting ready to hit a pregnant deer with a spear. The prince was disturbed by the scene. He could not remain calm. He raised both his hands and shouted, "Stop, stop!" The hunting party returned to the palace, and the man who made the prince talk went straight to the king to deliver the joyous news. The king was ecstatic upon hearing the news. However, he was not able to hear the prince say anything. After many days, the king grew suspicious of the man's claim that he had made the prince speak. The king summoned the man and said, "You are lying. If the prince truly broke his silence, then why has he remained quiet since? For this lie, I will punish you with death." The man was very scared and went to the prince with folded hands. "Please save the life of this servant of yours. Your heart cried out for a deer. Can you not show a little mercy for a fellow human and an innocent servant?" The prince did not break his silence. On the king's order, the executioner took the man to the site of execution. The man requested the king, "Oh, dear king, this is my last wish as a living person. Please allow the prince to come to the execution ground so that he can witness my death." The king decided to grant the dying man's final wish and allowed the prince to be present at the execution grounds. When the executioner raised his sword to behead the man, the prince grabbed the executioner's hands and said, "This man was not lying. In fact, I did speak in the forest." The man was spared from death and received a generous reward from the king. The king asked his son, "My dear, why do you keep quiet? Your silence is causing a lot of pain to your parents. Don't you understand that? Moreover, you are the successor to this kingdom. If you are silent, how are you going to govern this kingdom?" The prince answered, "Oh, dear father, I remember the events from my prior birth, like the story of Dumb Bharat. My religious practices were not successful because I talked too much. Had I remained silent, I would have achieved salvation in my previous birth. As a result of my good deeds in that previous birth, I was reborn as prince. By remaining silent, I have been able to concentrate on praying to God. Now that I have spoken, my sorrows will begin, for there is much sin attached to talking. Sin surrounds you the moment you begin to speak. When someone talks, he gets an opportunity to speak ill of others, lie about what he's talking, beat his own drums, and show arrogance. Talking often leads to offering unnecessary advice. Talking brings many sorrows. Hence, I promised myself that I wouldn't talk in this life. Since I talked a lot in my previous birth, I had to come back again." The king's guru said, "Dear, what you said is true. You could stop talking about anything other than spiritual topics. You can do that while you are here." The prince answered, Respected Guru, I pray to God silently and in peace. This place is not conducive to uttering God's name aloud. Everybody is preoccupied with the joys and sorrows of worldly affairs. It is disrespectful to the Lord to utter his name loudly amongst people who have no interest in spiritual matters. I am not able to take the Lord's name loudly. What I am saying today will be my last words. If I live in this palace, I will waste this place also. I will go to a place where one does not have to say anything other than the Lord's name. No one forces anyone to talk unnecessarily. I do not wish to witness an execution. These are my first and last words in this palace." The king was extremely worried by his son's words. The prince stayed in the palace, keeping his vow of silence. If he spoke, he would have no choice but to leave the palace and become a sannyasi. Eventually, despite his efforts, the king could not keep the prince in the palace. The prince left the palace and the kingdom to find a favorable place for spiritual solace. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, thank you again for reading the story. With this, speaking about the power of words, in this, the prince, the main character of the story, decides that words have a lot of consequences and really focuses on the power of silence. Does anyone have any questions about the story? If not, Srija, why did the prince choose to remain silent even when everyone around him wanted to speak?
Jayaguru, he was being silent because he was taking the name of God with he didn't want others to know about it because they would probably not be interested. Jayaguru?
Yeah, that's a good point. And also he wanted to avoid things like gossip and lying and all that by talking. And he remembered that he really wanted, like what you said, he really wanted to focus on his spiritual growth and not be entangled in all of this. So, Aishi, what finally made the prince break his silence in the forest?
Jayaguru, he didn't want the hunters to kill the deer, so he spoke so that they wouldn't kill the deer. Jayaguru.
Yeah, that's right. He wanted to save the deer and protect it. So with that, he decided to break his silence and say something. Aditi, have you ever had a moment or experienced anything when staying silent was better than saying something?
Jayaguru, yes, I've had a moment, like, especially when, like, I just, like, don't see, like, a way I can, like, contribute to the situation, like, positively, then I'll just, like, stay silent because that's better than saying something that I might regret later or that might make the situation worse. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, yeah, that's so important. Like, I think when we say anything, that's a contribution into the world. And I really like the way that you worded this, that it's always important to remember in any situation. And so the prince had this vow of silence, like he's not talking, and but he decided to break his silence and not follow his own principle to save the deer. Pratyush, do you think that there are situations when breaking your own promises or principles is necessary or justified?
Jayaguru, yes, I think that is the case. Like, just like take the example, if you took a promise and it's stopping you from saving someone's life, then it's kind of obvious to break that promise because someone's life is a lot more valuable. Jayaguru,
yeah, it's always like with these types of moral things, there's always like a balance, and you have to see like which is actually more important. Sanvi, do you think there are other types of situations where breaking your principle or not following a promise is okay? Sanvi, are you there?
Jayaguru, when you believe that like your promise or principle is incorrect or like making a negative impact on someone, then it's important to break it so that it doesn't happen in the future. Jayaguru?
Yeah, that's another point you brought up, because sometimes we may have a principle or something and we realize that that may not be right, and it's okay to change and be flexible. So that's another good point. So yeah, basically like in these situations where you're stopping some injustice or helping protect someone or helping someone in need, those are some like good ways to understand like, okay, it's okay to compromise on a principle or promise like that. And so in towards the end of the story, the prince says that talking can lead to sins like lying and arrogance and gossip. Seriously, how does talking lead to something like this?
Jayaguru, talking can lead to, like, in the words of the text, like sin, because when we're talking amongst all of the worldly attachments and material attachments in this world, we're oftentimes not focusing on the right things, and we're giving too much priority to the wrong things. And when we keep talking about them, we lose sight of who we are and what we're actually meant to do. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's well said. I think what all of the things that you said are really important to keep in mind. And sometimes it's easy to like extend the truth to make ourselves look better, or even just speak without thinking and unnecessarily hurt someone. So there's when we're not careful with our words, talking can lead to these bad things. So with that in mind, Aryan, how can we practice mindfulness in what we say so that our words are more meaningful and don't harm others?
Jayaguru, I think in general it's good practice to take a second to collect your thoughts and think about what you want to say before you actually say, and think about how your words can be interpreted by others. So I think, yeah, in general, just thinking before you speak and thinking about the consequences is probably good practice. Jayaguru.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Bobby, are there other ways that we can be mindful about what we say?
Jayaguru, I know the prince took it to kind of an extreme when he said that he wasn't going to speak at all. But I also think there are some situations where we can practice something similar in terms of not talking a lot and really just listening to others, whether it be in like group settings or in general, because I feel like a lot of times there's times where we can learn from what others say rather than us always constantly speaking. And obviously, like Aryan said, thinking before we speak, and making sure that not only we think before we speak, but we also make sure that whatever we're thinking about and what we think is what we want to speak is definitely contributing to the conversation or moving it forward instead of saying something that might hurt someone's feelings